I have a beautiful man sitting next to me. He is very muscular. He looks like the Hulk, not in green. You're a Hungarian Hulk.
Hungarian Hulk
Hungarian
in
Hulk.
the house.
Welcome.
Thanks.
It's good to have you here. It is our monthly Real Raw Relatable Relationship episode.
Yep.
And it's me and Stevie B. We're not going to do our bullshit in the beginning because it's just painful. But what we are going to do that Steve finds really painful is, I'm just going to get you something in your eyelash. What is something that you have loved about our relationship and something that you have found challenging?
I'm going to start with a disclaimer.
Oh.
This episode is brought to you by a panting Samoyed.
This is true.
We have a 40-kilo white Samoyed dog under our feet.
This is true.
That we are looking after today, and I call him the Fat Panther because he's fat and he pants. So if you do hear a in the background,
that's his name is Winston.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's just Winston adding his little 2 cents worth to the podcast. So don't adjust your dials. It is just a fat panther.
Continue.
Oh, what have I enjoyed and not enjoyed?
What have you loved about our relationship? And what have you found challenging?
I haven't really had any major challenges of late. Apart from obviously, the usual, which is me hanging on while you let your feminine self go up and down and dark and light and in and out, and I have to just be the rock. But overall, I think things have been really good. Yeah, just
go specific. What have you loved?
We're just in a good little spot. I've loved the little laughs that we've had, our little date that we had down to Montalto Winery, taking a walk, having some chats, getting shit done. There's no specific thing, just overall, there's times in life in any relationship where things are like overall feel pretty good, and sometimes where they can feel a bit like meh. At the moment, it's good. I like sun. I think, when summer comes and the weather's nice and,
you're a better human.
Oh,
you're a much better human.
Very weather affected.
You are weather dependent. Weather dependent.
Yep.
Yeah. I always say to my friend Nova, whenever it's raining and we've committed to going to dancing, we always write to each other, we are not weather dependent. So we make ourselves go.
Right.
Because it's so easy to not go to things because of the weather, which I understand. So I'll assume you're going to ask the question back to me.
I was going to, but you tangented off to your dancing. So what have you enjoyed and not enjoyed?
I'm very similar to you. I've actually just really enjoyed our relationship. I think that we have remained in a really lovely flow. I think that we have been really understanding of one another. We make a really great team. If the other one is resting, we let them rest. If the other one is wanting to get shit done, I think the other one is like, I might give them a hand. You wanted to do the back garden today. I did the front garden today, and we were, communicating how we could help each other out. I'm just, really enjoying us. And a specific moment was yesterday when I had 20 out of 10 really bad period pain. And I was in the middle of making my breakfast, and I was in the middle of slicing a tomato, and I just was like, I can't do this. I was in so much pain. And I went into our bedroom, and I literally crawled into a ball on the floor and just cried the pain out. And I heard you turn off the stove, and you came in and you rubbed my back, and you said, is there anything I can do? Is there anything you need? And I said no. And I tucked myself up into bed. I must have fallen asleep, and you'd drawn the blinds closed, so you let me have a sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the very small things that I really appreciate. And yeah. So that's my little contribution.
Excellent. What are we talking about today?
So
I'm coming in blind.
Coming in hot. What I want to talk about today is, so Steve and I have, for the last 4 weeks, maybe a bit longer, I'm not sure, we have consciously chosen to not sleep in the same bed anymore. That's what I want to talk about. And I don't want to harp on about, and make fun of you because it was regard to snoring. Because I think it actually grew.
Alleged snoring.
Oh my gosh, no.
There is no evidence. There is no evidence.
You know what? I'm going to get your snore score replay and put a little bit.
I'm just going to go full Donald Trump. There was no snoring. I don't know what you're talking about. There's never been snoring. I don't know what you're talking about. It's all good. We're going to win. There is no snoring. There's never been any snoring.
Oh my God.
These are lies. She's trying to cheat. She's trying to rig it. It's not happening.
Wow. That's okay. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Good one though.
Yeah, thanks.
But in all truth, Steve does snore.
Allegedly.
Oh my gosh. Steve does snore. He had snore score recordings on, and it's pretty epic. Anyway, what I really want to talk about.
It is a downside of being massive.
Yes, this is true. You're so much muscle that you snore.
Yeah, my poor little windpipe is like, I can't handle all the muscle and I must close now. Anyway, fundamentally, I'll just interject.
Clearly.
It led to anxiety because Kat would go to bed and be worried I would snore. I would go to bed and not want to fall asleep because I was waiting for the inevitable kick in the back or nudge.
Or, don't you over dramatize
this. Gentle nudging.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we both said, you know what? We will probably be better to you go and have a good sleep and I'll have a good sleep.
Well, yeah, we went through a tricky phase, and you even went to the sleep lab, which you didn't get any sleep because it's so shockingly wired up. You went to see someone about it. You went and got laser done on the back of your throat, and that actually did help for a while. I got these awesome earplugs, which I will put in the show notes because they actually did work. And so we had a period where things were really good. And then Steve's snoring came back. The more he has gotten muscly. The bigger he has gotten, the more snoring that he has had. So I love his muscles.
You have a choice to make.
I love your muscles.
Do you want the muscly version with the snoring?
I love your muscles.
Or do you want the other version, no snoring?
No. Anyway, what I want to talk about is I think it even surpassed the snoring, right? We have really cool common things that we enjoy, and then we have different ways of doing life, which is really okay.
Yes.
Right? You like going to bed. You love having a TV in the room. I fucking hate a TV in the room. Yep. You like watching movies before bed.
Yep.
Typically like action fucking murder movies.
Not murder,
but like people are getting murdered.
Sometimes. But generally I like action, fast-paced sort of stuff.
Yes.
And I enjoy to watch like half an hour.
Yes.
And then go to sleep.
Or you like watching F1.
Correct.
So basically there are lights going on in our bedroom. Not, super bright lights, but the screen lights. For me, I like going to bed and at, about 8:30, 9 o'clock, devices are off. And I like reading before I go to bed. I like it really quiet. And so we then were starting to, okay, you reading or are you watching a thing? All right, well, I'll get a screen protector, whatever, to darken the laptop. So then you would, because I wouldn't let you use the TV. And so, yes, it was snoring. But I think what has happened is that you have your likes in how you like to go to bed. And I have my likes in how I go to bed. And also the snoring was a part of it. And so we trialed sleeping apart.
Yeah.
As in, same house, just different room. with love, not like, well, I'm going to fucking sleep in another room or you get the fuck out because yada, yada, yada. It's, hey, I like a certain energy when I go to bed. You like a certain energy when you go to bed. Let's just do that.
Mm.
And make and let that be okay. Let's not make it a bad thing because we're not sleeping together.
Plus, it's actually been proven
Yeah.
that it is better to not sleep with someone. I
Yeah.
know there'll be two schools of thought. There's some stuff, especially on Instagram that says, if you sleep next to someone that you love, like the endorphins, blah, blah, blah. But then there's also another school of thought, which is that when you sleep in someone else's energy field, you're not replenishing your own. And that, you recharge better alone.
Yeah. You had
Um,
a reading some time ago that said
I did. I had a reading many years ago
many
that
years ago, before us.
said you should sleep on your own.
Yeah.
Um, But I mean, yeah, to be honest, like I've I've been loving
Me too.
it. Like, Kat will walk up and she'll be like, "I'm off to bed," and I'm like, "Love you," give her a kiss, and I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" It's like
It's like
party
a full
time.
oasis.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
I can do
It's like we're
what I want
single.
as loud as I want. If I want to fucking sit in bed and munch on chips, like there's not going to be any. What are you doing? The chip bag's too loud.
Or why are you eating chips at 9:30 at night?
Yeah, it's actually been like it was hard because at first you're like, oh, is
We
this
shouldn't be doing
does this
this.
say something about our relationship?
Yeah.
Are we going to lose connection because we're not sleeping next to each other? That hasn't happened at all. And once you move beyond that, it's like this is fucking wicked
I know.
because you're not trying to mold yourself
Yes.
into something else to appease someone else. You get to be completely
I know.
selfish.
I know.
Yeah.
And love each other.
Yes.
And love each other. So when I toddle off, I'm like, come on, Bailey, come on, Daisy. And they come and follow me. And I've got my room set up. I've got a salt lamp. I've got a little candle going. I've got really soft lights, enough so that I can read. And I tuck myself up and I just read. I read until I fall asleep.
Yeah. And while you're in your little abyss, I'm downstairs with a 50-inch screen brightly in my eyes, watching people run and shoot each other. And then I gently close my eyes as that is happening, reach for the remote, turn off the screen, and go to La La Land.
Because before, if Steve, and it was true, if you were watching something on your laptop, I would be annoyed at the screen. So then I'd be putting a pillow in between us. I'd be like, turn the screen down. Or you'd be like, what time are you going to bed tonight? Do you want to watch something before bed? And really, we just, I think we were, what I have just noticed more than anything is we've just owned the way that we like to close our day.
But
And
then the other thing that's cool about it is what happens now in the morning, right? Because we're
yeah,
pretty early risers. I'm normally up by probably 6 a.m.
yeah, I'm up by 6:30.
Yeah, I'm normally up before Cat. So
I know I can hear the ice
yeah,
machine being going off in the morning.
yeah, I'll wake up, I'll brush my teeth, I'll go sit at my computer, start looking at some shit, whatever, and then I hear like the pitter patter of like 12 feet, no, 10 feet. 8 of them are dogs,
Yeah.
2 of them are cats, and then they all come downstairs. They all jump into bed, and then
Yeah.
I put down, my computer, and I jump in,
Yeah.
and we have like this
Yeah.
nice reconnection. But it's like it's almost feels like in the morning, like Christmas when you like come
Yeah.
down, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
and that's the cool bit. Like we're staying connected by making
Definitely.
sure that we have still our time. But yeah,
Yeah, because when my alarm goes off in the morning, so Bailey hears it and Bailey knows that's the time we go and see Dad. And so when the alarm goes off, he does his big yawn. Daisy's like, I'm not keen to get up. And then I just take a moment. I take a moment to say, "Blessed be my life," and I just acknowledge Bailey and I acknowledge Daisy. I hear the little birds, and then I open up the blinds, and then they're both up. The dogs are both up, and they're like, and I always say to them, "Want to go see Dad? Want to go see Daddy?" And then they're stretching and they're ready to go. And it is. It's this exciting little time. But I want to share this because I think relationships we all have our own way of doing things, and I think that there is this, you know, one way approach that if you're not sleeping together, if you haven't had kids by this time, or if you're not married by this time, etc. And I know that's slowly like really being dismantled. Then something must not be right with our relationship. But I want to share this openly with you, that it's a change that we've recently made, and it's a change that we love. It's a change that, the girls are like, why do you two sleep apart? Because we fucking love it. So in the beginning it was, because dad snores, and if if dad snores, I don't sleep well, then I'm an asshole in the morning to everyone. They're like, yes, you are. And then I say, well, it just makes sense if dad snores for me to sleep apart. But now we're owning the fact that we love it. Yeah. I sometimes am up in bed by 8:30 because I'm like, why the fuck not? I want to go to bed early. Whereas when we would go to bed together, I would typically link up with your bedtime, which is usually a bit later. So I love it.
Yeah, and I guess the point is that, and we've said this many times, relationships are not static; they're dynamic.
Yeah.
Right? They're either moving forward or they're moving backwards. They never sort of stay the same. And change is the only constant in life. Everything changes and everything will continue to change. And that can be something as simple as, I used to not snore, now I do snore, or, whatever it might be. But I think the point is that, conscious relationships, you don't avoid change or stick your head in the sand. You go, hey, this is happening, and like, how are we going to do it? But still with that intentional end result of connection.
Yes.
And if I think if either of us felt that connection was being lost,
yes,
then we would sit down and say, hey, we're not changing this, but we need to find time for connection.
Yeah. Because what we were going through before, we were, like, okay, we've got to sleep together. We've got to sleep in the same bed. And then throughout the night, Steve would snore. I'd nudge him. He'd get the fright of his life. He'd get mad at me. I'd go fuck off and sleep on the couch, or, if one of the girls weren't here, then I'd sleep in one of their beds. And it was really, we weren't liking each other.
No.
It was hard to like each other because we were tired, and in both of our minds, we were interrupting one another's sleep.
No, but it got worse. It got worse than that, because what actually ended up happening is that Kat would. I remember the one where we really, before we started talking about this seriously, is I was awake and started to breathe heavily, not snoring. And I know this because I was awake, and Kat nudged me, and I was like, I am not asleep. Why are you nudging me? And she goes, because you were about to start snoring. And that's when I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous.
Because I was trying to get you before you went into the full bore snore.
And I'm like, so now we're preemptively nudging? And it was like, nah.
Yeah.
So this is the us for now. And
for
it might
now,
change.
Correct. Absolutely. It might change. For now, I fucking love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the other day.
I love how much you love it too.
Yeah, the other day you're like, I think I'm going to sleep with you tonight. And I was like, oh. And you're like, do you want me to? And I'm like, nah, I think go and get a good night's rest. And in my head, I'm like, fuck no. I like my little plan. I like my little process.
I know. There was this night, because I just missed you. I missed cuddling up. But then there was that thought, as I thought more about it, I'm like, no. He's going to be on his laptop. I don't want lights. I don't want this. I want to just do my thing. And so, I chose the bigger end outcome as opposed to missing you. I'm, still cuddled you and all those kinds of things.
And I think it's important to differentiate between cuddles, intimacy, and sleep. Right?
Nice.
As in one,
nice. Yeah.
One is not linked to the other. You can have the first two and not sleep next to each other.
Yeah.
But still make time to connect and, have intimacy and all that stuff.
Love this.
But
or you could sleep next to each other and then not have intimacy
or cuddles.
or
Correct.
cuddles. Yeah, because
Right?
you're like, I fucking hate you.
Yeah. So, like, you know, in a, I mean, you know, imagine that perfect world. You know, it's 9:00. You come into bed, there's a cuddle, there's a session, then you're like, I'm off to bed. TV goes on, like, winning the World Series.
I know. Or sometimes when we have cuddles in the morning, it then turns into an intimacy session. Like but because we're fresh, I don't hate you from the night before. And I'm like, don't you fucking touch me. You know, if in the morning, like, because I will have known if Steve's upset with me if I've nudged him too many times. Because if I go and put my leg over, because that's what I would usually do, like play footsies, and it's like touching ice. It's like touching ice. I'm like, uh-oh.
No, the leg moves away from your leg until there's
we're in trouble.
No mattress
Even
left.
if I didn't touch your leg, I could feel if you were mad with me. So this is a cool plan for us for now.
Yeah. And look, I think anyone with a baby, you know, knows sleep deprivation is fucking terrible. Like, you are not a good human when you haven't had rest.
True.
So, I think from our perspective, we're like, if we get good rest, we're better people, we're healthier people. We can then go and train.
Well, I was just going to say, we want to go for a walk in the morning, which we do. We wake up, we do our cuddles, we go for a walk with the dogs, and then we do our training because we are replenished.
Yes.
You can snore away. And I sleep like I'm so silent when I sleep. And, you know, I can just sleep however I do, and that's just the way it is.
But I guess we're using this topic as an example of just the fact that in relationships and in your relationship, for anyone listening, things have changed. Things may be changing, or, you know, you want things to change. And it's not about being fearful of that. It's about keeping the end result of your relationship that we've talked about in many episodes before. What does my relationship look like? And saying, okay, how can this change be incorporated while still staying connected to the end result? Having the open communication with your partner about that, and then seeing, you know, how you go from there.
Amen.
And just remember, if you're listening to this anytime after 9 p.m. Melbourne, I'll be in bed alone, watching TV. Kat will be in bed alone, reading a book.
Yep.
And there is happiness in the world.
And we are still loving each other. Sometimes I'll message him and go, I miss you.
And I won't respond because my headphones are on and I'm watching TV. Chat in the morning, babe.
Oh, yeah. I love this for us.
Yeah. I think we're done.
Awesome.
Until next time, thanks for listening to the Real Raw Relatable podcast with your host, Stevie B, and my special guest, Kat John. We'll see you next time.
Can't help yourself.